It takes a lot of work to go from being damaged children to whole, living, viable adults. We have a crisis across the diaspora. Somehow along the line, little girls and boys are being used as pawns in adult movements. The boys are being trained as killers, and the girls are being used as mattresses. And it's across the diaspora. The profile of the serial killer is changing. The pain in these very rapid growth cycles is a very hard chain for some to unyoke themselves from. There are whole families, siblings who are traumatized by how the environment outside encroaches into their living space. Children who are not allowed to be children based on the activities, the heinous, brutal activities of the adults that they may never even see or come in contact with, but their lives are impacted. I had to do a little cleansing before I came to do this video, because the magnitude of my anger was such that I needed to take a breath and focus and make sure that I was clear in my question of why are we wasting our children? Why are we teaching them to be devoid of emotion? Why are we teaching them that life does not matter? Mass shootings are commonplace right now. Churches, in schools, in mosques, at barbecues, at parties, at gatherings, at funerals, at just why are we killing one another? Why are we making guns accessible into the hands of children or people who lack the emotional maturity to know when to make a judgment call? These are not situations of kill or be killed. These are not situations of defense. These are wiping out families and communities just one. These are snatching young ladies off the streets. These are snatching young men off the streets. These are before boys hit puberty and even know how to shoot a marble right, they know how to hit a target. I remember back in the day, you have to excuse me, dark side. Yeah, 11207. What'd they say? Frankie! He by, yeah. Frankie said, yeah, they out there practicing. Sooner or later, they gonna line it up right. I always used to hear the term was seafood, eat food, but everybody ain't food. Imagine growing up, what growing up do you do? Are you trapped in the trauma when between 12 and 17, 18, you were continually raped and used to pass around in communities? I mean, the mindset to get up out of that and still be somebody. The mental health structuring and focusing, and how does one function with all that trauma and unlove entering into their lives at such an early age. And these are women that, guess what? They about their business. And they don't look like what they've been through. Yet for some of them, we fight them about their choices because we have not looked into the child and adolescent within. I remember having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about therapy, and she talked about going to therapy, but see, she still had not yet found, there's levels to this. Now, you can find a therapy that has your cue, but can you find a therapist that now is of your culture? There's levels to this, because she said when she ready to go express, I thought, you may kick back to your dialect. That's why we again speak about these languages being very important as communication tools. We told you that when folks get old, they in the nursing home, what's the first thing they kick back to? A cultural dialect within. So even in the midst of therapy per se, and they hit a trigger question, and the first thing you got to do is answer in Spanish or Creole or French or anything, or even Patois. And then you say, oh snap, I got a code switch to explain this to this person. It's going to lose the effect. It's going to lose the effect. Because there's layers to how the healing is. There's layers to how the trauma was applied. It may have been a similar action, but the cultural distinctions, good God. All right, we won't even go to the unpacking of misogyny because my brain is still reeling about the how do you douse gas on somebody that they got 70% of their body burned and they succumb to the pain? 4 days later, after only having, in the last month competed as an Olympian in a marathon? But your ex has a problem with your success. Sometimes you don't know the thoughts of people that are running. They gave us Forrest Gump. We need to hear the other stories. There's so many thoughts. I'm just very angry this morning. And I'm grateful to have self-awareness, knowledge, and a spiritual fortitude to stay balanced. to express my thoughts. Our children, economic status ain't got nothing to do with abuse. Economic status has nothing to do with domestic violence. Economic status has nothing to do with wickedness. You gotta stop hurting the babies. Because they grow up with pain. They don't always get therapy. And it takes a lot of work for them to become adults that are still in pain and still hurt and still haven't voiced what is really deep down inside them that hurts them, no matter what it is they've achieved. We got some people out there that are amazing overachievers. They've garnered material success, but their mental and spiritual health stays in jeopardy. I guess that's part of where you can even look at aspects of the imposter syndrome, because there's still damage to the core. The numbers on mental health support for those who are melanated is low. That's because those who were there for you, you turned your backs on them. Those who you sat the mat with, turned the backs on them. You have folks who laugh at those who sat under the tree with the elder. This concept of, I don't want nobody in my business, gets people killed. The concept of, shh, don't tell nobody, gets people killed. It keeps people in chains of pain. You got to let all that shit loose. I ain't say let it go. I said let it loose. You find ways to channel it and find ways to use your voice to tell your story so that others know that they are not alone. It is time for that consciousness. That's why we're at the time that we're at. You know, you forget the divine feminine exists for a reason. And truth, that deep truth, that stuff way down in there. There are children missing and exploited every single day. There are parents pardon me, it's been a long morning. Hug the children you have. There are other children out there who are in need. Some who haven't even buried their mother yet. Stop hurting the babies. They grow up. They don't forget. They find ways to make change. They will be the ones that will show you the pen is indeed mightier than the sword. Careful what you imprint on a child. They grow up and they become very responsible because they will be the antithesis of the pain and hurt and grime and disgust that was created in their lives. And they will understand what justice is. And life will exact karma. Stop hurting them.